Hello to all my friends. I am back on live. It's been a little while, so I am inviting one of my friends here. She's going to talk about her business, and I'm super excited. Minute here to pop on, and yeah, we'll see who's here. Okay, so hope everyone's having a great day, and nobody had too many problems with the outage that we had with Facebook and Google and all. Hello.
Hi, I made it on.
Awesome. So good to see you.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
So yeah,
Talk by text. So lately I haven't seen you face to face.
I know. I know. It's been like a week, I think. So
But I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
yeah, yeah, it's always fun. So we'll just kind of chat. But yeah, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to invite you on. I met Amy through a course that I took. It's been a lot of fun. Made some new friends,
Yep.
and Amy's one of them. And I just thought her business was really interesting. And I know we're on different coasts, but I'm excited for you to kind of tell my friends about your business because I have a lot of real estate friends, well, all over the US, but definitely like in my area, and they could definitely
Right.
um, take your course. So,
Yeah.
yeah, do you want to tell us about you?
Oh, yeah, sure. I started a home staging business 4.5 years ago now, but it's not really what everyone thinks when they think of staging. So most people think of the vacant staging, and I'm coming in and bringing, which I do that. But a lot of the emphasis I have is on occupied homes
Mhm.
because really like 80% of the houses that are for sale are actually occupied by homeowners at the time. And so, it just brings up a whole host of issues um, like, well, what do they do with their stuff? And, as an agent going in, that there's too much stuff or maybe not enough stuff, or, how do you approach that as an agent?
Right.
And so, just in my work as a stager, I've seen and had to talk to a number of agents about, the best ways to kind of handle some of the situations. And, the nice thing is here, if they're local, I can come in and do that for them.
Right.
Um, but there's a lot of things that I've learned along the way on like how to talk to sellers and how to get them to have buy-in and how to make their homes look awesome by the time it's ready to sell.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's really important. So you will be launching. So you're in Pennsylvania, right?
yes,
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
But you're going to be launching a course that other real estate agents all throughout the US can take. And
Mm-hmm.
do you want to talk more about that? Just because I think it's super fascinating. I mean, after 20 years of real estate, I actually haven't taken any classes or courses on staging. So, and the occupied is even more fascinating. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is the first time anyone has like officially said I'm starting this course. So hear you say it is a little like, whoa, okay. Um, but yeah, so in my past life before I started staging, I was an elementary educator, um, and worked a lot with curriculum and curriculum development and all that kind of thing. So the course is kind of combining all that together with staging and then education. And so educating real estate agents and as well as sellers in like how do you handle occupied homes, how do we best approach that, um, and again, like what do you do with the design part of it. A lot of agents do some things called like pre-staging
Okay.
where it's clean up
Yep.
um, carpets maybe and clear off your counters,
Yep.
but
I mean,
yeah,
I'm guilty. I'm like, oh, take down your personal photos and
right.
let's take the air fryer and the, Cuisinart or whatever, like all the kitchen
Like
stuff off the counters.
right. And some things are more obvious than others for agents, to pick out. Um, that's like the pre-staging,
Right.
and the broken screen and
Right.
all those repairs. I can definitely go through and with a consultation and work with the sellers on that as well. But then the next level that's really going to bridge the gap between it looks maybe like a really sterile house with like a lot of stuff still in it, and bridge the gap between that and then something that's ready for the market.
Right.
When houses are ready for the market on day one, I mean, as you and your audience knows, it gets they get more views, they do better online. You're gonna get sellers, more buyers looking at it, and but you have to hit it strong day one. Like there's no other time when more people see it. So so you want to always be market ready to go on day one. So so that's my goal. It's just to spread the word, get information out to agents on what specifically to do besides just the pre-staging.
Right.
That kind of knows. So I want to be able to walk them through the process of like, okay, like what do I do now that I've walked into this room and I see maybe too much stuff? How do I handle that as an agent? Maybe I don't have any background in design.
Right.
I don't understand, that's okay, because I'll walk them through that so that they'll know, or you would know, and you can take like a matrix and just kind of work through a priority list of things that that will really help you with each room. Right. And it's not not just like a generic list that you can find online, but something to really help you with the whole process.
Right. So. Yeah. Really teaching the real estate agent how to walk into the house confidently, have that conversation, and what a cool tool to have in their belt. To be able to get the listing, even to say, hey, I've taken additional courses. I'm very well versed and trained in being able to stage your particular belongings. It's not really going to cost you any additional money, and be able to sell your home much quicker, because there is a huge difference between, because I always do professional photography because I believe in that. But, if you're going to spend that amount of money on professional photography, it's great if you can go from the get-go to make it look beautiful from the start.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Hit it hard on day one, and be ready to go. And, and just in talking to agents, I think a lot of them don't know how to approach sellers about that. And it can be really awkward. Whereas if you set it up and frame it from the beginning, even from your listing presentation, or if you're talking to them, say, about renting their house, as some of your agent contacts might be getting ready to rent their house out, but you talk to them from the beginning about, I'm bringing this, this extra piece of value to your house, and we're going to set it up for buyers, and I have a whole process we're going to go through. I don't know it all myself either, but we're going to work through this process together. And, by the time we're done, it's going to look great. So, and attract more. So, they can use it from the get-go to kind of bridge that gap between, I don't know what to say, and it's really awkward to bring up the fact that their house smells like a dog, or, something like that. Or how do I tell them, they have way too much stuff out? And because sometimes the sellers can be really offended by that. But, there's certain ways we can say things. And then if you just frame it that way from the beginning, they know what to expect.
Yeah. Me personally, I've always framed it using data, because I feel like that's less emotional. Right. And just being able to have some data around, when we have a house that's, great from the get-go, most likely going to get more views and more showings and, perhaps maybe even multiple offers. Of course, can't guarantee, but I think approaching things with data is very helpful.
Yeah. I talk to them about it as though, like, your house is a product that we're going to be marketing. And it's not about your design. When if I was going to sell my house, I would not have it set up the way I have it set up right now. I would change it.
Right.
Like I would move my office out of the dining room, and I would, make some of those some of those key changes, I would pre-pack a lot of things. So, it's not anything personal. It's just, we're just going through the process so that you can see how buyers will see it.
100%. Right. Because the buyers want to see themselves in it. They don't want to see themselves in your
Right.
stuff. So, and I think all of us, if we had to list our house tomorrow, I mean, I'm just sitting here in my office and everybody gets to see the, pretty background. But if I turn my phone around, it would not be so pretty.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's like no judgment. And so, one thing that I thought was really cool, because, I do work with buyers and sellers, but I also work with, property management business owners, and I'm, launching a business on that, helping them in 2025.
Right.
So I thought your course would be really cool for even property managers, because a lot of times when you pick up a new client, you go in and generally, if it's a brand new client, they want to get their home rented before they move out. So kind of like the seller,
Right.
generally needs to sell before they can actually move out. And, really the two go hand in hand. I mean, seller and, landlord, kind of the same as far as like the same premise. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. Just kind of let other property managers know that there's another tool out there, that maybe they hadn't thought of, because I know that's one thing that I had really never thought of. Again, we kind of went with the like selling rules, like, oh, take down your photos and,
Right.
try and make it pretty, but never really went with the occupied staging. So I think that would actually make a huge difference, because at the end of the day, everybody, money kind of drives it, right? So whether it's a higher rental rate or a higher sales rate, I think that would be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. And what you were saying earlier about approaching it with your sellers, or whoever might be, whoever's living there and moving out, or if it's the landlord himself, but approaching it like logically and with data. Whereas from the buyer's perspective, we want to approach that emotionally, because that's how they're, whenever they're coming to look at a house, they're emotional about it,
Right.
and they're going to make it based on those emotions. Now they'll back it up with logic, and facts.
Right.
And well, it's a good location, but I really love this house, but they're really going to be swayed by the emotional part of it. And so that's where we can really, use the staging, whether it's vacant or just staged with the occupied items that are already in the house, to really highlight, the features of the house, and really, sway the, let's say sway the buyers, but you really influence emotionally.
Yeah.
So I mean, even I am, like everyone is swayed emotionally by the feeling that you get whenever you enter a house.
Right.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, from, pulling up into the driveway to walking up to the front door to opening the front door, it's all about creating a beautiful experience. That's how I've always approached it, is, what kind of experience would I like when I go look at a home, whether I'm going to rent it or I'm going to buy it. And, even if you're an investor client, I think it's important to kind of think that way. Again, not for yourself, but if you're buying for an investment, thinking, okay, well, how will my tenant feel, prospective tenant feel like when they walk up and see it. So,
Right.
I think that's really important.
One thing that that I do, well, as far as like occupieds go, I can approach it two different ways. One is coming in and just using whatever they have in their house. That's probably, and that's the way that the course would be focused. That's probably what most people would be doing. Like most agents would approach it that way. And so, like the course itself will be taking a look at how can we use things that people already have in their house, in order to like highlight the features of the house, and bring it all together into something that's ready for photos. And then I can always, like in person or another occupied stager, in their area, if some artwork or other supplemental things are needed, they can provide those as well. So, I'll do occupied staging with accessories and artwork, and I'll bring in not soft goods.
Right.
I have to buy some couch pillows and things like that, but I'm not going to rent those. But so they might have some small purchases, and even agents who are able to do this on their own might want to recommend they buy some of their own things as well. But it can be really challenging because even I walk into a house and I'm like, wow, how do we approach this?
So so I have a fun question. What's the worst one you've ever walked into? And then I'll tell you a few of mine. But do you have any like fun stories of like you've walked into something and you're like, oh my gosh?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So this one, I went in, I was there with the agent, and the homeowner was there as well. And he came in, it needed to be, it needed to be painted, totally painted. It was like a really dark maroon paint, up half above a rail, which the rail wasn't even there. Like half of it was missing. And not only that, but he had moved all his furniture out of that one room, which was probably actually a good thing. But he had tons of family photos up on the walls still. And there was no furniture in the room. And this was like the living room. And he's like, well, I'm just not going to be able to paint. And I just figured we'll just leave all the photos up. It was like a gallery wall and every single wall, and not a nice gallery wall. It was like random and haphazard, and
nothing matching.
And he's like, we're just gonna have to leave these up because like I don't know, like they can just be used for the staging. Like, oh no, that's not good. So we didn't really talk to him about how, if I'm going to do this house, and this actually was like it's going to have to be a vacant in that room. Well, I was going to bring in everything, but just the bare bones beginning of it. First, we need to take all those down, because the buyer is not going to be attracted to that. They're going to be just distracted.
Right.
And then second, we need to get it painted and get things looking good in there, and then I'll bring everything in. So that was one that was a little like, whoa. There was another one too that I knew I was going to be coming back and staging this one that a family of 5, there were 3 kids, and they were all pretty young-ish. But I was going to come back and stage with just their things. So when I went to the house to see it, and I didn't see pictures ahead of time. Usually I don't. I just go in for the consultation. So I went, and wow. Like they had, like all the furniture pushed up against the walls, toys and just stuff everywhere. There was some artwork that like I could actually use, but it was like either not on the wall or kind of like leaned up behind the couch or somewhere just in some really awkward places and situations. And you go and you're just like, wow, like I don't even know how to begin. Oh, and then that was the one with the tree on the wall. They had a wooden tree.
Oh, like not painted?
On the wall. It was made out of wood, and they had attached to the wall, and it had like little shelves on it.
Oh.
But it was like the whole kitchen wall. I mean, I'm talking like 10 feet wide.
Wow.
And like 8 feet tall was this tree. And so we had a little talk about the tree, and that buyers would be a little like distracted by the tree. So if they could remove the tree, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we could do that. We like the tree, but I'm like, yeah, I know, like it's pretty cool, and he had made it, like, yeah, it's really cool. But if we're going to sell your house for top dollar, then I would recommend that we remove it, because it's just going to be distracting.
Right.
So, so they did. They did all that, and I mean that house turned out beautiful. Turned out really nice.
That's
uh,
cool. Yeah.
website. Um, I have a lot of pictures on there of the transformations, that we can make with occupieds. I would show you now, but I guess there's no way to show you some here. But yeah, it just makes a huge, huge difference when they follow through with all the things from the consultation, and they actually bought a coffee table, which the kids were all excited about buying. I don't know why. And because the parents were like, well, we never bought a coffee table because we like to have dance parties,
Oh,
and you know, like, which is great,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe for the next we just don't, or move the coffee table out of the way or something. So yeah, but it turned out fantastic. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. How
Yeah,
about you?
that's fun.
How about you?
Um, yeah, so one of my worst ones, I mean, there's been a lot, but this was actually a property management client or prospective. So I went to go meet with them. This was, I mean, years and years ago. And it was
Mm-hmm.
when like sponge painting walls was all the rage. Do you remember
Yeah.
that? I mean, I'll admit I also did sponge painting in my own house. And looking back, it's kind of like you look back at old outfits and you're like, what was that? But anyway, so I go and I meet with this prospective new client. And so a lot of times in property management, so like it's different like in the sales world. You sometimes will take the listing, but you don't have to, like, you're not married to that property. Like you're like, well, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to do my best and then it's just going to go on. But in property management, it's definitely different. Like you have to make sure that the client and you align and the house aligns with your portfolio and all this stuff. So I show up and it's first of all it's like kind of out in the woods, which isn't like that horrible, but it's just not like it was kind of like a red flag number one. And then I walked in and I think the entryway was fine, but I made my way to the living room and the walls were purple, like
Yeah.
like purple, like dark purple, and then sponge painted like a light lavender like on top of it. And so so long story short, they ended up not becoming a client. Like they didn't understand why I said that they would need to paint that to neutral, and they were like, well, it's just a rental. And to be honest, like I don't really enjoy working with people who say it's just a rental because at the end of the day, you are creating a home for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there's an exchange of money, but you still want to provide something that's like neat and clean. Doesn't have to be brand new, but
Yeah.
neutral walls and just make it neutral. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I still remember that one. And they had like dogs jumping everywhere and
Oh,
just, and the carpet
yeah.
just looked horrible. And yeah, the purple
Oh,
sponge
all these
painted.
things coming at you at once. Like, how do I even begin? You know?
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Yeah,
well,
but most clients are pretty receptive. Like, we had so over the years I had created, beautiful like onboarding checklists for our prospective property management clients. Like, here's how to get your home rent ready. So kind of like you do in sales. And but I hadn't ever really thought of the occupied staging. So I'm excited to
mhm.
kind of see where 2025 goes because I think it'd be a cool like collaboration to
Yeah.
send people your way and say, hey, go, send your property managers to this training course because how cool is this? So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely would be. So, I mean, I think they would be a great fit. I'm excited about being able to help agents like elevate
Mm-hmm.
to provide to sellers, um, and help them get more listings. You have like edge. Um, Anything you can do
Mm-hmm.
to to get that edge
Absolutely.
is going to be beneficial. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, yeah. Do you have any other anything else you want to say before we kind of head out? And then of course, you should say like your company name and like what
Great.
kind of where everyone should find you. And then I'll make this into a reel at the end, so I'll tag you and everything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it's my website is hometransformationsstaging.com. And then I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. It's just at Home Transformations Staging.
Cool.
Um, yeah. yeah, but I mean, and if people are interested, anyone watching it want to find out more about occupied home staging, I do have a download that they could go ahead and download there, and I go into some of this stuff like about the talking to sellers and the pre-staging versus what else to do. So so I have some of that in that download if they're interested. But um, so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you have a free resource out, don't you?
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 5 essentials that real estate agents should know about occupied home staging.
Yeah.
But they don't. They don't know, but they should know.
Yeah.
So I say that only because it's really going to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when you figure 80% of the houses are occupied when we go to sell, we really need a strong strategy for approaching those. So, so
100%. So yeah, and then when your, workshop and courses launch, then they hopefully will be on your email list, so they'll get notified when all those kind of go live. And I'm looking forward to taking one because I always like to learn new things.
yeah, I know. I know. I was talking to a friend of mine tonight, and I'm like, when am I gonna like stop, like just keep doing more? Like it's always something more to learn. There's always something. It's like your mom is 87 and she is still like taking classes at the local community center all the time, and she's teaching them, and so it's a
Yep.
lifelong.
Yep.
We're just gonna keep learning.
Yep.
keep learning for life. Yeah.
Yeah. Keeps
So,
us busy. My grandparents lived into their 90s, and they worked on their rentals up until
oh,
not exactly till the day they died, but almost. I mean, you know, um,
wow.
my grandpa was probably the landlord that you would never, I mean, as a tenant, you would want to have him, but like as a property management company, he was one of those you're like, oh my gosh, like he did all of his own repairs. And I mean, he did a great job, but
Yeah.
all of his own remodeling and
Ah,
all that. But
great.
yeah, that's what he did. He woke up every morning, he wore the same outfit, he would just go to work and just, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And he probably himself how to like fix everything as well, through the years, like self-taught and self-learned.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty brilliant. Like he had that mind where he could like build things, especially from scratch. So I did not get that one. I got kind of more the creative side, like the visionary.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
that's okay. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Cool.
well, cool. Well, yeah, thanks for joining. I don't think I see any questions. I see some really nice comments, but
Oh,
yeah, we had a really nice comment from Elevate Freedom Training, and some other people joined us. So yeah,
all right.
it was nice to have you join, and it's always fun to go live.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like my first time doing a little interview live, so
Yeah, you
uh,
did great.
it was fun. That was fun.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
All
Okay,
right.
well, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Okay.
Okay,
Talk to you later. Bye.
bye.